Welcome, deep divers. Today we're embarking on a really crucial deep dive into a text that's just a masterclass in how ideals can crumble, and how power shifts after a revolution. We're really honing in on one pivotal chapter, chapter 6, where the rubber, well, it really meets the road.
Yeah, exactly. Our mission here is to pull out those truly kind of surprising nuggets of insight from this chapter. We'll look at how that initial revolutionary fire meets, well, cold, hard reality, how collective effort gets channeled or, manipulated, and maybe most importantly, how truth, how collective memory can be systematically rewritten right under your nose.
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to understand that complex dance between labor, leadership, and the critical role narrative plays in shaping what people believe. So let's unpack this.
Okay, so chapter 6 hits us immediately with the sheer scale of the animals' commitment. I mean, they're working like never before. That includes those voluntary Sunday afternoons. Voluntary, but if you're absent, half rations. It's an almost heroic level of dedication, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you'd think working that hard, they must be miserable. But the text says they were actually happy in their work. They believed every bit of effort was for the benefit of themselves and those of their kind. What does that tell us, about the start of any big movement? How long can that kind of intense, almost idealistic dedication last when the demands just keep piling up?
It's striking, yeah. That initial ideological purity, it's an incredible engine. But even with that drive, we immediately see the first cracks appearing, don't we? The harvest is less successful. 2 fields don't get sown. It kind of foreshadows that hard winter to come. It hints that sheer will, well, it can't overcome every single practical problem.
Right. And at the heart of all this effort is the windmill project. The raw materials, limestone, sand, cement, they have plenty of that. But the real challenge is, how do you break those huge quarry stones without human tools? It's a massive engineering problem.
That's where the practical ingenuity of this new system really comes through. They figure out eventually to use gravity, dragging these enormous boulders with desperate slowness up a slope just to tip them over and shatter them below. It shows incredible resourcefulness, everyone chipping in, even the pigs at critical moments.
You really can't talk about the windmill without talking about Boxer, can you? His strength is shown as equal to that of all the rest of the animals put together. Like, when a boulder slipped, it was always Boxer straining to hold it. What's the dangerous side of relying so heavily on one individual's unwavering, almost kind of blind dedication?
Oh, it's a powerful illustration. How immense individual effort, especially when it's tied to absolute loyalty, can drive these huge projects. Boxer slogans, I will work harder.
Right.
And Napoleon is always right. They're not just his personal mantras, are they? They sort of become the farm's unofficial answers to every single problem.
Yeah.
He's even arranging to get up, 45 minutes earlier, to drag broken stone alone. It's admirable, sure, but also you can't help but feel a bit uneasy watching it.
That early period of Animal Farm, it seemed so self-sufficient, didn't it? No humans to feed, efficient weeding, no need for fences. It felt like a truly, well, revolutionary way of doing things.
On paper, yeah, definitely. But as the summer goes on, the text tells us these unforeseen shortages start appearing. Things like paraffin oil, nails, string, dog biscuits, iron for the horseshoe stuff the farm just can't produce itself. And later, they'll need seeds, artificial manures, tools, and crucially, the machinery for the windmill. It's one thing to have grand ideals, but this chapter really shows us the ruthless pragmatism you need to actually run a system. What gets sacrificed first when ideology bumps up against the grocery list?
That's exactly the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because this leads straight to a huge moment. Napoleon announcing a new policy. Animal Farm is now going to trade with neighboring farms, simply in order to obtain certain materials which were urgently necessary. The windmill's needs, they override everything, and that means selling off hay, part of the wheat crop, and eventually eggs.
And this is where memory and those founding principles, they just collide head-on with convenience. The animals feel this vague uneasiness. Why? Because they distinctly remember passing resolutions early on against dealing with humans, against trade, against using money. It's a critical turning point.
And their discomfort. It's squashed pretty fast.
Yeah.
4 young pigs who try to protest are promptly silenced by a tremendous growling from the dogs.
Right.
And then the sheep start up with their chant, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. It just smooths over that momentary awkwardness. It's kind of chilling how effective those simple tactics are.
Oh, absolutely. And what's truly striking here is Squealer's performance. It's a masterclass in manipulation. He assures them that resolution had never been passed or even suggested. He cleverly asks, had they maybe dreamed it? Was it written down anywhere? And since it wasn't written down, the animals are just satisfied that they had been mistaken. It really makes you wonder, how does a society hold on to collective memory when information can be so easily reframed or just flat out denied? Especially when there's no independent record to check against.
That's the scary part, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's not written down, or if the record can be changed, what truth is actually left?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this new figure enters the scene, Mr. Wimber, a sly-looking little man who acts as the go-between. The animals watch him come and go with a kind of dread. They avoid him.
Yeah, and this engagement with the outside world, it's fascinating because it subtly shifts how the humans see the farm. I mean, they still hate Animal Farm. They still think the windmill will fail. But they start developing a certain respect for the efficiency with which the animals manage things. They even stop calling it Manor Farm. They drop their support for Jones. It's this kind of reluctant acknowledgement of the new order, even if it's still driven by their own self-interest.
And we also hear these constant rumors, don't we, about Napoleon making deals with either Pilkington or Frederick, but never with both simultaneously. It's this delicate diplomatic game he's playing, even while operating under these supposedly new principles.
Absolutely. And that new pragmatism, that willingness to bend the rules for outside needs, it quickly mirrors changes inside the farm, too, like when the pigs suddenly moved into the farmhouse and took up residence there.
Yeah, and again, the animals feel like they remember to rule against that, too.
And Squealer's right there with the justification, isn't he?
Always.
The pigs, being the brains of the farm, well, they need a quiet place to work, obviously. Plus, it's more suited to the dignity of the leader. That's a new title for Napoleon. Notice, to live in a proper house.
It's an interesting pattern, isn't it? How new titles and these perceived needs are used to justify grabbing privileges.
It's a classic progression. And that whole beds with sheets incident is particularly revealing. Clover gets worried, asks Muriel to read the fourth commandment. Muriel eventually reads out, "No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets."
That's the key bit right there, that tiny addition. With sheets.
Exactly. And Squealer, just conveniently passing by, immediately reinterprets it. He argues, well, a bed merely means a place to sleep in, right? Even a pile of straw is technically a bed. The rule, he insists, was only against sheets, because sheets are a human invention. He even tries to guilt them, saying things like, "You would not rob us of our repose. Surely none of you wishes to see Jones back."
Ah, the classic threat.
It's a perfect example of how easily rules can be twisted, just incrementally altered to benefit those in power. Add a word here, twist the meaning there, play on their fears.
And it works. Again,
Yeah.
The animals are immediately reassured. And then just days later, it's announced the pigs will get up an hour later than everyone else. And guess what? No complaint was made about that either.
It just shows that cumulative effect, doesn't it? These small erosions of principle, they add up.
So despite all this going on, by autumn, the text says the animals are tired but happy. The windmill, it's almost half built now, and it seems to compensate for everything. And Boxer, still doing his tireless, unassisted night work. There's this enduring hope clinging to that visible progress.
Yet you've got old Benjamin. He remains the steadfast cynic, just refuses to get enthusiastic about any of it. His cryptic comment that donkeys live a long time, it offers this really weary, long-term view on events. It hints at a cycle of struggle that maybe he feels he's seen before or expects to see again.
And then comes the devastating blow. November arrives, bringing these raging southwest winds. They shake the farm buildings, blow tiles off roofs. And the next morning, the windmill, their huge achievement, discovered in ruins, just leveled to its foundations, a complete wipeout.
Napoleon's response is, well, it's chillingly swift, isn't it? And utterly strategic. After just a moment of silence, he roars and immediately blames Snowball for this act of malignity. It calls him a traitor who destroyed their entire year's work just to avenge himself. What pattern does this remind you of in power structures? This immediate deflection, creating an enemy.
Oh, it's textbook, isn't it? He pronounces a death sentence on Snowball right then and there, offers rewards for his capture. And then, how convenient pig footprints are discovered nearby, which Napoleon instantly declares are Snowball's leading towards Foxwood Farm. It's such a blatant fabrication, but it's presented as absolute fact.
Precisely. It's completely designed to consolidate his own power and regalvanize everyone's effort. Turns a natural disaster into an act of deliberate sabotage, and his defiant decree is immediate. No more delays, comrades. Rebuilding starts this very morning, all through the winter, rain or shine. He stresses, "There must be no alteration in our plans. They shall be carried out to the day." Then finishes with, "Long live the windmill. Long live Animal Farm." It's just a masterclass in turning crisis into a reaffirmation of his own unchallengeable authority.
So after all that, what does this chapter really mean for us? We've seen how this huge collective effort can be marshaled, through ideology,
Yeah.
but also how core principles can just be incrementally worn away and how a devastating setback can be strategically reframed to actually consolidate power.
Yeah, this deep dive really highlights the fragility of those initial ideals when they went up against practical challenges. And that ever-present temptation to control information, control the narrative, it underscores the importance of asking, where is this information coming from and who benefits if I believe it?
We hope this deep dive has given you maybe a fresh perspective on a classic text.
Maybe consider this. How easily can an entire society's collective memory be reshaped when there's no independent record to check against, and dissent is just silenced? And what happens when extraordinary effort gets redirected, not by a shared purpose, but by a singular, unchallengeable narrative? What does that tell us about the foundations of any truly informed society?